In today's ClickFix, you'll learn how our exclusive lock links work to give you more control over how people interact with the links you share. In basic terms, lock links give you the opportunity to create links that you can expire or lock after A, a certain amount of time passes, or B, a contact clicks on them a certain number of times. In a separate video, we'll go over some potential use cases to help you get your creative juices flowing. So let's jump into the ClickFix dashboard and take a look at how to get started. Once you're on the lock links page, which you get to by clicking under New Module, Lock Links, the first thing you'll see is that you need to give your lock link a descriptive name. This name is strictly for your internal use, so you'll want to name it something that'll help you keep them organized. For our purposes, we'll just call this one Lock Link Demo. Next, we'll select the Ontraport application key that we want to use. If you haven't set up your Ontraport key yet, navigate to Ontraport API Keys and set one up right now, because all the ClickFix apps will ask you for your key before allowing you to use them. If you need help setting up your key, please refer to the video tutorial linked on that page. After selecting your Ontraport key, you'll need to select the field that you'll be using to store your lock link information inside the contact record. I'll explain exactly what you can do with this field in a minute, but first let's head over to Ontraport to get that set up. Now, your navigation may vary depending on your Ontraport subscription, but you'll want to look for the field editor, which for us is under Contacts, Settings, Field Editor. Now, it's up to you to decide where you want your fields to live, but it's probably a good idea to organize these into their own section, since you'll need to create separate fields for every lock link that you want to keep active. Now, I've gone ahead and set up its own section here and created a text field called Lock Link Demo, but you can call yours anything you want. While you're there, you should also make a numeric field, which I call Demo Counter. All right, so you can see this one's a text field, just a normal text field, and this one's a numeric field. And these are the options that you get here under this field type. So one is going to be text, which is a default, and the other one you're going to want to set to numeric. Don't forget to save the field editor and then head back over to ClickFix. All right, so you could click the save button here before you exit this, or else it won't work. Now, you'll probably want to deselect and then reselect your Ontraport application key at this point, so it refreshes the field selectors with the latest additions. So if I do this to the demo key, it's going to query another account, but I can go back to ClickFix account, and you'll see that it already detected which ones I had. And the way that you got to do this is just got to start typing whatever name you put in here, right? So there's nothing that starts with that, but if I type in, it gives me the basic ones, but I have to actually type in lock link, or lock in this case, for that one to show up. So after I got that, I go ahead and select it, and I'm good to go. I do the same thing with the counter field, which is Demo Counter. Now, in your particular case, if you're not planning on locking the links based on a number of clicks, you don't actually have to use the counter field, but I tend to just make both fields every time just in case, because it gives me flexibility down the line to be able to use that field for something, or to make adjustments if I see that something's fishy going on. Next, we need to select the destination URL. So this URL to redirect, this is the one that you actually want people to go to when the link is not locked. So by default, if the conditions have not been met, so if it's based on time, if it's still before the date that you've set as a cutoff date, or if you've set it on a number of clicks and they still haven't reached that number of clicks, this is the URL that you want people to go to. After that, you're going to have to decide if it is a website page or a web page or a file. Now, the difference here is simply that if it's an HTML page, what you're going to see when they get redirected is going to have a little message that says that they're being redirected to a website. And if it's a file, what we actually do is we cloak the final destination URL, so that way nobody has the actual path to your file, which is very important, because if you use something like Amazon S3 or any of these other storage solutions out there, Dropbox, Google Drive, any of those, if somebody has that final URL, the final destination URL, they can quite easily share that out on the web, and you can have thousands of downloads just based off of one person sharing on a black hat site or something like that. So you're definitely going to want to make sure that you select file if it is a file that you want to redirect people to. And what will happen is they'll just get the download interface directly, and they'll never know exactly where that file lives on the internet. But in our case, we're just going to redirect to a simple HTML page. So instead of clicking file, right, see there's additional options there. It's just an HTML page. And then we select the URL that we want people to see if they actually have a locked link. So this is after the date that you've selected, if you're going to expire by date, or after the number of clicks that you've selected occur. This is the URL that you want people to see. And in our case, we just chose the meme that we selected. After that, you're going to decide how many days you want it to live or how many hours you want it to live, right? If you want, you can go ahead and set this to -1, live until you tell it not to be. And then this, I'm going to go ahead and select -1 as well for infinite clicks. And then I'm going to go ahead and set it to active. And once I've done that, I can go ahead and click submit. But before I do that, I want to copy this, which is the actual URL, the actual webhook that I'm going to be using. And so once we have everything there, you're going to have to set this up to actually fire. So let's go ahead and jump over to Ontraport. In our case, we don't need to save these changes. Next thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to go to the campaign. And I'm just going to go ahead and set up a new campaign. I'm going to start one from scratch. And let's say that this is a demo. And it is the demo for the locked links. So here you can kind of decide how exactly somebody's going to have this link applied to their account. For most cases, you're probably going to do this for campaign or for account-wide campaigns. So you can just go ahead and pop the webhook element in here. Make sure I have an end there afterwards. But if you want this to trigger based on when somebody makes a purchase or does anything like that, or visits a certain page or anything like that, anything besides the manual way of adding them to the campaign, obviously you would go ahead and add a trigger, and then you'd have the webhook element over there. And just like any other campaign, you can have triggers be both the manual kind as well as the automated kind. But for us, we're going to go ahead and just keep it here. And again, I just need to grab this generated link here. Come over here, go ahead and put this into the destination URL. And I like to also give a descriptive name here just so I know what's happening when I look at my different campaign maps. And this one is simply add, we'll call it the same name here. That's it. All I'd have to do here is go ahead and just publish my campaign, and then I would add somebody to it. And I've already done that, so let me go ahead and show you exactly what it looks like inside of the contact record. All right, so you can see that I'm here on the ClickFix tab, which is where I decided to put those different form fields. And this is the actual lock link URL that you're going to be using. Now, the way you would use this is inside of an email or anywhere else that you can use merge fields. You go ahead and just say, I want to merge with the locked link demo in my case, or whatever name you gave it. And it would go ahead and replace that merge field with this URL. So right now you can see that this URL is active, and what we did is we told it to go to clickfix.io, and you can see that is now being redirected to clickfix.io, and it works as expected. All right. Now the quickest and simplest way to lock a link manually is to just go ahead and get rid of that URL. I just cut it in this case, save that change, and now when I put it in here, you can see that it goes to the meme that we selected as the expired behavior. So that means that now you have an easy way to keep your content from being shared without authorization. To help increase conversions by including real scarcity, or any number of creative ways to use this feature to help grow your business.